The Eagles got their revenge. Patty took the L. Let's talk about it. Yo! What's up, everybody? We are back with Too Much Fantasy Football. It's post-Super Bowl reaction. We've got to talk about it. I'm your host here. It's Brian. And, of course, alongside of me, it's the one and only. It's Brennan. How we doing today, man?
Down $1,000 because the Chiefs decided to fucking choke.
Dude, AFC did not pay out to you very well in these last couple rounds.
No, they didn't. It's so bad. And I almost had a parlay that one. I literally hit everything right. I had Saquon under. I had Jalen Hurts over in rushing. I had Devonta Smith over in yards and a touchdown. I just need Travis Kelce to catch one more pass.
Dude, that was bad. Instant reaction here, like pouring in, like, what is it? 22-40. Eagles take care of business. 2 defensive scores on this madness. Like,
can we call it what it really is? It was like 40 to. It was really like 37-0 or whatever.
Yeah.
34-0. Yeah.
The defense had outscored the offense up until that last 70. Which that pass to Worthy. Oh, we're gonna dig into that one, but goodness.
Yeah. My takeaway from this is that. The stat everyone's already seen already. The Eagles didn't blitz once and sack Mahomes 5 times. If that's not a telltale sign of that the Chiefs are going to heavily invest in this offensive line in this offseason, I don't know what to tell you. That was a mess, like complete mess.
100%. The fact that they didn't have to do that, they had the 4 rushers, and they were able to get it. By the time we got in the third quarter, leading up to halftime, I was waiting. I was watching the money line go up for the Chiefs, and I was ready to pound it. Halftime, I'm just like, I'm gonna hit it, and I did. I donated $10 there. But in that third quarter, I was like, all right, this is not the Patriots Falcons 28-3 that everybody's tweeting about. Here it comes. This is the Patrick Mahomes and Buccaneers Super Bowl, where Patrick Mahomes is just flustered. Absolutely flustered, running around, can't keep his feet set. Guys are dropping, like DeAndre Hopkins and Kelce, 2 just household names for so long, just let the game go between their fingers multiple times. And honestly, I had no skin in the game. My team was not playing. But how in the Brady, how do you ruin my Super Bowl still? You don't even play. You've been out of the league for 2 years. How does he ruin my Super Bowl? Again, I'm done. I'm good.
My thing too is that like Jalen Hurts won MVP. Obviously, he's going to go to the quarterback, but honestly, I think we both be honest with you. It was a defense that all 11 players in the defense should win MVP.
Vic Fangio,
Jean, Bomb, like Nick Fangio, Sweat. Like, it's a quarterback's award at the end of the day. The last time we saw one, it was the Seattle Seahawks linebacker against the Broncos. Mm-hmm. But yeah, dude, the fact that they only rushed 4 the entire time and just made Mahomes' life a living hell, it was crazy. And got to give credit to the Eagles GM. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean back-to-back picks. They somehow Jalen Carter fell to them, which we like. I remember a couple years back was like that's the dumbest thing ever. Literally, I get the issues with him, but.
It's the discipline. What is it? I think their first round picks over the last 4 years or 3 years, it's all been defensive players. It's been mainly Georgia players too up until this past year. But just the discipline for them losing that Super Bowl and coming back and hey, let's not just pound the offense, get another weapon here. They did add Saquon obviously in free agency this past year, but like building this draft up and this team. It's set up well. It's set up very well over the next, 3 to 5 years. They're going to start paying some of these guys, but even so, they've got enough to keep while also moving on and continuing to add picks. And yeah, this GM, he takes swings. Sure, maybe he takes a swing at, Jalen Reagor from time to time and lets JJ go right past him. But for the most part, you take away that whiff. How many other, it was 21 teams that whiffed on Jefferson. So, outside of that, the dude's done a great job. Everybody watched the pregame reports on all that stuff. We saw how it was built.
Yeah, kudos to them. And then also getting an undrafted linebacker who just turned into an all-pro, Bomb. Dude was a stud all season long, and they're probably going to retain him, pay him, good money. This team is, like you said, it's set up for the next probably 3 to 5 years for a championship run. I mean, granted, I definitely think the Commanders are going to give him a run for their money. They have a rookie contract for quarterback in Jaden Daniels. They're definitely going to spend some money. I think the Lions are going to definitely make a heavily investment towards the D-line to fix some things. But honestly, like I think it's those three teams out of the NFC that's really the scariest of them all.
Yeah, I think the Eagles would be, like, if you asked me my NFC winner next year, right now, I think it would be the Eagles, just how well they're built. They're going to lose a handful of pieces, but they've got cap space and draft capital where they can, Myles Garrett's not off the table. I've seen like Vegas odds. This is one of like the top 6 teams as far as Vegas odds go with that. Like they could do some wild stuff. The GM, he's got that Madden mentality. He goes in there whining and dining, trading all over the place. I love it.
Yeah, so I mean, like, gotta give them props. They definitely, it was asked a belt for 4 quarters. So kudos to the Eagles. I mean, I got to give it to them. On to the Chiefs, though. I mean, yeah, this is yikes. You can't cut Jawan Taylor because I think they do. It's like $32 million. I definitely think, though, they will be looking at like cheaper options like Cam Robinson for left tackle. I don't know what they'll do with their first round pick. They'll probably move it. They'll probably focus on interior of the line, but they got to pay Nick Bolton, who's a linebacker, who's a free agent. I mean, it's very interesting where the Chiefs are going to go from here.
Well, Chris Jones too. We're getting old as far as Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. Those guys are going to be interesting to see if Kelce hangs it up, if Chris Jones is willing to kind of like it was a struggle to get him on the team this year, with him having to restructure and the signing of him. So they'll make it work. I think they're built. They built this team well enough. They've got the things that do. But the Eagles, like when you compare it to that, Chiefs are in trouble. Just within that lens.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier-Worthy is definitely flourishing into a really solid wide receiver. He had like 6 catches over 100 yards and a touchdown. Granted, it was on prevent defense for most of it, but the one touchdown was crazy. I mean, he blew right through the secondary and was just wide open. That we saw the 4.21 speed live in action on the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, he was. So let's open that book a little bit. Next year. We didn't have Rashee Rice on this team, so they will have him back, which I think is a great addition. Like those two are going to play well off each other, just what they do best. How do you look at Worthy? Like, I mean, probably wide receiver 2, somewhere in there.
Yeah, he's probably like a wide receiver. He'll probably be in my rankings. I think like wide receiver 22, maybe 20. Because I think you and I both have Rashee Rice being suspended in some sort of fashion, maybe 2 to 3 games, maybe a little more, and I think Rashee Rice will drop a little bit, and I think that's someone who I'd like to have on my team. If he's going to drop in any sort of value, I'll definitely pick it up because we've seen what he does when he's on the field. All he does is just get 9-10 catches, close to 100 yards and a touchdown. And I think him and Worthy will definitely feed off each other. I think Worthy will be a little overdrafted, so might. Yeah,
that's my biggest worry is because of that. If we do get a 2 to 4 game suspension for him, Worthy's discount that we would get because he's the second wide receiver there, we're not going to get that this year because of that. So it's going to be interesting. Like, does Rice end up falling behind him at a certain point of the draft season?
Yeah, I think Worthy. I think before the Super Bowl, I probably slated him like a 6th round pick. It's probably now more like a 5th, maybe late 4th.
Did you not
Someone's
just like,
bite.
Oh my God, that's the Tyreek Hill plays. Those are the plays why they brought him in, for that just elite speed. And I mean, who knows if we get Kelce out of there, maybe they start playing more like, 11 personnel. They, put 3 wide receivers out there a little bit more.
I'm going to put my stamp that Kelce comes back for one more season.
I think he does too, but he needs to be like a part-time player, like only special packages, not like a full role player. And
I still think even then he'll still finish probably as a tight end 1.
That's not hard, though. We've seen some.
That's what I'm saying, though. Yeah, he'll still be drafted. He'll still be the name Kelce will be drafted, and I don't know if I'll want any part of him.
I don't think I'll touch him at all.
I think the Chiefs are in a very interesting spot with this draft because now they have pick 31. They'll probably trade up to try to find, maybe they take the Kelce replacement in Loveland because I don't think they'll get Warren from Penn State. maybe they go for a running back because clearly the running back, I don't know, Pacheco is playing hurt.
That's what I've seen a lot of mocks is, I mean, Pacheco's also on a contract next year, so a rookie running back would probably be the safest spot. Now, they whiffed on it last time they were in this position with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but So let me ask you,
Jonathan Taylor on that team.
Oh God, if only. If only. Imagine Kareem Hunt on that team back in his prime. Woo!
Yeah.
Woo, if only. So let me ask you a question here. My biggest reason I was rooting for the Chiefs was I wanted to start putting this Tom Brady is the GOAT discussion to bed. Patrick Mahomes could just slide right in. He's now sitting 3-2 in the Super Bowl. He's got 2 losses, 3 wins, 2 MVPs. What does this do to his legacy? Does this tarnish it? Does this drastically change it? Is he going to be looked at like in a LeBron James lens where, he's got chips, but he's got the, like where do we go with that? Or is this an overreaction and he's still the GOAT?
This is an overreaction, right? LeBron lost the Mavs and got, the 4-1, it was 4-1, I believe. I mean, I think Mahomes is going to play into his 40s. I think Mahomes is going to break every damn record possible for quarterback, right? LeBron has done it right. Points, assists, you name it. I mean, people still want to say MJ's the GOAT because of the 6 championships. And that's fine. I have no problem with people saying that. At the end of the day, like if Mahomes gets 4, 5 Super Bowls and breaks every record possible, passing, touchdowns, you name it. I mean, it's hard to sit there and be like, well, this guy's broken the records. Tom won a Super Bowl 9-6, if I'm not mistaken, or 10-6 against the Rams. Like, he's had great defenses his entire career.
I was going to say, I don't think he, up until the Buccaneers Super Bowl, he did not have a Super Bowl where he won by more than 1 score. And most of those were 4 or less points. So, Vinatieri kicked game-winning field goals for his first 3. Tom Brady didn't get an MVP until year 8. Mahomes has 2 already.
Mahomes could retire and is still first ballot Hall of Famer. Like right now, he's
100%.
Like, and he's not even 30 yet. Like, people need to realize the factor of this. Like, he's already being compared to Brady, and they're like, oh well, he didn't. He's it's like every season he has started, he has gone to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
We completely went from this narrative of the Chiefs are so dominant, the refs this and that, to all of a sudden they got spanked in this game, and it's completely changed. So I don't think the narrative is drastically different. I still think he's amazing. I think he got handed it to him, but he can't play every position. He cannot block for himself. He doesn't have the greatest of all time at every position. So it's gonna happen when you go that many times. Your chances of losing are there. Brady lost 3 times. Should have lost 4, maybe 5. But I'm just there. They'll buy.
Yeah, I mean, if you go through that game, the Cooper DeJean pick was really, really bad. He tried to force feed that thing in there so badly to Hollywood Brown, and it was bad. Mm-hmm. The second interception, he literally got hit as he threw it, and that was it. Yeah. I mean, he was under duress. I have never seen that much duress since the Bucks game when they were on their 3rd string offensive lineman. And he, even then, watching that game, he was throwing the most craziest incomplete passes I've ever seen in my damn life. Something I never saw Brady do. I'm sorry. I've never watched Brady throw on his stomach to a guy and it hits him in his hands and he drops it. I've never seen Brady do things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I actually saw something where Brady kind of broke down the difference between him and some of these guys. And he's like, my superpower is I knew where the defense was going to be and I knew where to throw the ball. And then if they were going to stop the play, I wouldn't call the play. I change it. And that's exactly it. Tom Brady was never athletic. He had never had the best deep ball. He was never the fastest. He just was, cerebral. That's that type of player. That's how Peyton was. Peyton athletically, no, he had, it was a soft arm there. We saw that at the very end. But the dude was just otherworldly in those other ways, and that's what made these guys great. So Patrick Mahomes, is he quite at that level of Brady? Absolutely not. But because he can do other things with his body that nobody else can, that's what helps push him, in my eyes, up over the edge.
He's not 30, and he's already the second greatest quarterback of all time. I'll just say that.
We weren't talking about that with Brady, that soon.
No, there was the Joe Montana, and Peyton Manning was right there in the conversations with him. It wasn't until he got into the fourth, fifth Super Bowl that's where he eclipsed everything, and it took off.
I mean, Big Ben came in there, won a Super Bowl his second year shortly after Brady did all that. So we've had some great quarterbacks over the last 25 years.
Yeah,
deeper than that, but I wasn't watching then.
If Mahomes just keeps going to the AFC Championship every single year, it's going to be very, very hard for me to be like, yeah, I know Brady's got 7 Super Bowls, but this guy just all he does is win, and he just gets his team to the chance, gets them to the dance. Mm-hmm. So it's hard.
Yeah, that will come. This conversation in 10 years will be incredibly.
We'll probably be talking about this in 10 years and see maybe if he gets another two more Super Bowls. Are we still doing this talk?
Right, yeah, 2 more that'll put him at 5, and I still think that's more than enough to put him up there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another legacy here. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts, a guy that came in out of nowhere, second-round pick, usurped Carson Wentz out of this big contract. He's looked good, tush-push this, A.J. Brown that, and scrutiny hit him the back half of this year. Is Jalen Hurts this good? Is he even helping the team at all? And MVP. Absolutely crushed it. He now has 2 Super Bowl appearances. He's got a win. MVP, Super Bowl MVP. Where is his legacy?
I think he's got to play a little bit longer before we can start talking Hall of Fame.
For sure.
I think he needs. I'm still leery on him. To be honest with you, the metrics still are in the favor of what I'm saying and what I'm seeing of is he actually good? Because granted, he is surrounded by nothing but playmakers. Top offensive line. I would love to see him in a situation where just an average team and just will he be the same guy?
Or can I just watch Daniel Jones play 1 game for the Eagles? Just let me see how that works out. How much better are these crappy players? How much more are they elevated? Because I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is a terrible quarterback by any stretch, but like you said, there was a reason this discourse built up there is because, like you said, a lot of these metrics pointed to him not being great. He has so much to lean on between the blocking, the great run game, these elite players, and then the defense. He was under no stress last night. Absolutely chilling like a cucumber, breaking out, running all these, running, 71 yards, 72 yards on 11 carries. Unfreaking real. And then his pocket was clean outside of that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be the guy on here to be like, oh, he's a Jalen Hurts hater. No, for fantasy, he'll be number 3 for me in my rankings. I will think you should definitely draft him as a top 5 quarterback because he definitely is a top 5 fantasy quarterback. I just don't know if I think of him as a top 5 quarterback. If there was a pool of quarterbacks, would I take him top 5 right now? I don't know if I do that.
That's the huge thing. If we're talking fantasy, yes, 100% to me, he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback. But yeah, top 5 in the NFL, I could probably name 7, closer to 7 than I would take over. He's just there's the thing that make him great and exciting for this game plays into fantasy, and I think that kind of overinflates where his is. But rushing touchdowns the last 4 years, 14, 15, 13, 10.
I don't want to say probably 99% of those are tush push 1 yard line.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's not breaking out Lamar. Lamar doesn't get it in close. If he doesn't score from 10 yards out, he's not scoring typically. And his passing touchdowns, 18, 23, 22, 16. Now, granted, those aren't going to be huge because you have Saquon at this point and the tush push, but toss the rock some more, bud. You got some great receivers. I draft them high. I want them doing well.
I'm curious if they get rid of the tush push next season because there is some serious talks of they'll be talking about that at the the owners meetings about voting on that. Yeah. If they get rid of that, how much does that shift things for him? Because granted, I still the dude squats 600 pounds. Yeah. So I still think at the end of the day, if it's just him QB sneaking in there, he'll get it more than 50% of the chance.
I was going to say, he's 50, 60 at least percent on that, I'm sure.
So but does that move the needle? I still think he's still a top 3 quarterback because at the end of the day, if they're still on the 1 yard line, he's still going to want to QB sneak it in.
Yeah, like we said, he got 72 yards rushing in this game. There's only a handful of guys that can get that. Now, he's not as elusive as Lamar. He's not as fast. I don't want to say he's not as powerful as Josh Allen, but that's not true. He is strong, but like
He's
Josh
very
Allen
strong.
just has this giant will of just wah.
He's
So-
6'6". Like, he's a big dude.
Yeah. What is Jalen Hurts is what, like 6'1". Okay, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Big
So yeah, he's just got a different type of power. He's like that immovable rock, and Josh Stallion, he is a horse, just fucking stallion. Oh man, with the Eagles winning, that means obviously coaches have to move on. They've got to slide out of there. Kellen Moore is going to the Big Easy, off to hang out with the Saints in their cap hell. Initial thoughts there. Do you think I heard Nick Sirianni was nearly begging Kellen Moore to run it back with him.
He did beg Kellen Moore to stay, which, yeah, Nick, you should beg him because you don't call
suck.
plays. You don't do anything. You show 8 Mile as a clip to motivate guys. I don't like, I'm sorry. I will die on the hill that literally any of you folks at home could coach the Eagles and be just fine as long as you had a decent offensive coordinator and Nick Fangio as a defensive coordinator. He doesn't do anything. I do not care. My first thoughts is please convince Derek Carr not to throw hospital balls to Chris Olave.
No, he should be convincing them to get rid of Derek Carr.
Whatever.
move
Just
on.
don't put Chris Olave in the hospital anymore, please. I am so sick and tired of it. He's going to probably have the biggest leash because that job is just hell.
I think
That
they know it
in
too.
hell. Yeah, if I would be going there, I'm like, look, we need to blow this up for 4 years and build this from the ground up.
Yeah, Kellen Moore, whatever his contract, he's like, I want 3 years guaranteed. You won't get rid of me. Start
Seriously,
judging me
because
until
this
year
is
3.
just. You should probably start trading guys that don't want to be traded, like DeMar. Just get rid of guys there that have a name to it, get some value out of it, because you just need to build this up again.
Honestly, start calling the Broncos. Clearly, Sean Payton will pay anything for whatever Saints player he can have. The amount of I was looking at the receiving room, and the fact that they have A.T. Perry, they've got little Jordan Humphrey, the fact that they've got Adam Troutman, all of these rejected freaking Saints players. It's
what he knows. He was there for almost 2 decades. So again, honestly, it's time to Alvin Kamara. I get he's a Saints legend. Just see what you can get for him. You him, and I think honestly, if the Saints were to call Denver, hey, would you take Alvin? I think Alvin's value actually increases with Bo Nix a little bit.
I think so too. If he goes with Sean Payton, I would be happy with that. Or go to Minnesota. Go give a Super Bowl run with Minnesota.
I think we'll do a free agency show here soon, but I think Aaron Jones is probably going back to Minnesota.
Oh man.
I think we both can probably predict that one.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Brennan. I don't like fun.
I'm sorry, I'm Mr. Captain Obvious here, folks.
Look, I'm optimism. He's the realist. All right.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting here. And the last little bit, as far as player movement, it looks like the Jets have met. I loved this. Love this notification that we got. They flew Rodgers back to Jersey to let him know they would not be retaining him. Just Rodgers. If Rodgers is out, Adams has to be gone. Do you think Rodgers hangs it up? I don't think his pride would let him hang it up this year.
No, I think he owns a home in Nashville. So there's
he bought that 2
speculations.
years ago.
Yeah, there's speculation of him going to Tennessee because the Tennessee Titans are willing to deal. I guess they're open to trading the number 1 pick. It's just they should, because if they're not really sold on a guy, go get a king's ransom for the number 1 overall pick.
And they're not ready for anything yet.
I could see him going to Vegas, to be honest with you. I can see him going to be a Raider.
Oh God, would Adams just go right back with him then?
I don't know what Devontae Adams is doing, but Garrett Wilson's now going to stay a Jet. That I think when the leak report that Garrett Wilson wanted out, if Rodgers was going to stay, they're probably like, do we value Garrett Wilson or do we value Aaron Rodgers? And I value Garrett Wilson 10 times more.
I ship him off. Get rid of Garrett Wilson for me, please. Please.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I saw a small little joke, kind of the Colts should go. I'm like, stop it. No, we're done. We're not even entertaining that crap.
No, I definitely think they'll be drafting somebody in the 3rd round, though, this year. I don't think...
I should have taken Joe Milton. I was on team Joe Milton because what is he? He's essentially just an Anthony Richardson,
Yeah, Joe Milton, I've watched plenty of games from Michigan and Tennessee, and what you saw was 1 game wonder. I promise you, folks.
That's all
Joe
I need.
Milton. Yeah,
He's just got to plug in a couple, few games here and there when Anthony Richardson's out.
If Devontae Adams doesn't follow Aaron Rodgers, where do you have him going? Because I think he's not going to stay a Jet.
So I've seen reports as he wants to go back west. He wants to go West Coast. So, first thing I want to see is Chargers. 100% want the Chargers. I would
be a good spot.
Pull my eyes out if somehow he finds a way to show up there in San Francisco, because that would just be the worst.
If Cooper Kupp is officially dealt, I could see the Rams.
I could see that too.
I could see the Rams doing something with that. Hey,
I don't hate it.
I don't. It's a very weird situation because I think their contracts are literally similar. Yeah, I think the Jets are probably hey, this guy's great. I mean, I don't know. And honestly, we know who the GM is. It's the Jets owner's son, and he's got a high Madden rating. So
yeah, he's got a superstar ability. So those are hard to come by.
Those are hard to come by. So
freaking wild, man.
Yeah.
Alrighty. You got anything else before we wrap it up?
No, I got nothing else, man. I think our next couple episodes will be doing a division preview, free agency, rookies coming up. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, a little bit of everything for you folks. So stay tuned because we're not going anywhere all off season. It's going to be too much fantasy football. Before we do go, 2025 Super Bowl predictions, way too early. Who do you have?
Chiefs, Commanders. Chiefs will be the Commanders. I think Chiefs go back.
You think the Chiefs go back? I think it's finally we're allowed to venture off from there because I felt like it was dumb to go anything other than the Chiefs last few years. But I'm ready to pick somebody else.
I can't.
Let me go back to the Bird Bowl. I think we're gonna have a lot of feathers this year. I think it's gonna be the Ravens and the Eagles. I've picked the Ravens the last couple of years, man. I can't get off it. That team is they're built
over the hump.
Like the Eagles. They're just built so well. That defense, the offense. Give me the Bird Bowl this year. Next year.
Okay, but does Lamar get over the hump though and get the Super Bowl?
I think so.
Or is it Jalen Hurts back to back? Oh,
but I think it would be my bias. My bias would be going with the Ravens because I just want to see them knock out the Eagles. But let me see Lamar finally get that trophy.
All right.
Alrighty. Well, folks, we have to get out of here. We got to shut it down. We got to start digging into the spreadsheets, figuring out all that we need to know about the coaching situations because it's finally locked up. We've got OCs, we got HCs. No, it doesn't work out. We got head coaches. Before we get out of here, man, tell the people where can they find you.
You can find me on X at FFAMBMulk, and then you can find me on the Fantasy Football Advice Network as well.
It's at @too_much_Brian on X, @too_much_Brian everywhere else. If you want to find us on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, we're there all the time where football is being talked about in the fantasy form. Baseball, basketball, and y'all dabble in some of those. Check us out over there. We've got that on the site. But until then, we'll see y'all later.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com.